The Roadside, Chapter 9. In the beginning, it was the only dream she had. It was trite and absurd, foolishly adolescent in the face of the world Sarah grew up in. A dream started by a movie she saw in one of the rundown hotel rooms Father found haven in. Father was snoring on the bed, exhausted after driving hours along back roads. Sarah couldn't sleep, so she turned the television on and flicked through the channels. The old television shows were dull. She cycled through the channels again and fell upon a movie made before she was born. Sarah was transfixed. The woman on the screen standing upright and bulletproof to the old man with a gun. After the closing credits, the same film was played again. It was a small corner of a small city in a rural county, alongside a nondescript interstate. Anyone watching the channel wouldn't care what they were watching. After seeing the entire movie, and again as it was replayed, she put her dreams in her pockets for safekeeping because she had just seen it in a movie. Only fools waste their time with movie stars, feasting off the slightest hearsay, pictures, and lies. The sheer volume of magazines and newspapers selling off the gossip seemed wanting and sad, searching for something that was never there through the incessant reporting of the slightest detail. Dealers in tabloid gossip were no better, as specialists in lifestyle addiction. As with any addiction, it didn't matter how the junkie got their stuff, as long as they got it. For Sarah, it wasn't so much the movie itself, because movies only made temporary stars out of nobodies. The story wasn't the best, a peculiar tale of conventional love told in the manner of soap opera obsession and dream. It was the protagonist who stirred Sarah. The image of a woman who stood against the world like a living stone. Everything else about the film was forgettable. The self-indulgent effects, the over-indulgent promotions, the underwhelming director, and the blandishments of regurgitated storytelling. Reality never lived this way, and certainly not the actress. Helen Morell was a nobody when she was cast in the role of Jane Birch. Both the character and the actress played the chronic hopeful, dressed in their struggle. The woeful pessimism turned into seduction. Suddenly in the limelight, Morell played herself in the movie as an innocent victim of fame in a heartless world. The film took place in the South, a Dixieland diorama of objectified stereotypes, filled with exaggerated characters and comic parodies. The film was daring for the implied sexual content, a melodrama of a young woman protesting the beating of her brother at the hands of an evil police chief, where the movie magic switched roles, the brother not really her brother and actually the son of the police chief via the embrace of a prostitute. Morell falls in love with the police chief's son in revenge for what the police chief did to him. There was controversy, and Morell was a movie star thereafter. The first time Sarah saw Jane Birch, she fell in love with the protagonist as she fell in love with her own ideal. It had nothing to do with the torrid affairs, but the manner in which Morell played an indomitable spirit, the tragic figure of grungy love and unrequited justice. The film was trash, as Sarah realized years afterward. Realizing the woman was an actress, paid to do a job, the betrayal was less than the mockery Morell made of herself in subsequent films. Sarah never made her disappointment known. Jane Birch, the tragic heroine, was the film's expression of the woman's rise to sexual power. Critics of the film loathed the woman's coldness. Others mocked Morell's manner of acting in talk shows, calling it low art streetwalking. Dear Miss Morell thinks she's standing for high art, with her shocking public statements and posturing in front of the movie camera. Hardly the case. She makes a better case than anyone else for associating the starlet with the prostitute. The alleged actress, Helen Morell, reads lines through the lens of her own moral abdication. She personifies the loose character flaws and quirks of Hollywood into some weird abstraction, a conspiracy of horror where actors and actresses are such abject amoralists that they are incapable of redemption. There is only one person incapable of redemption, and that is Helen Morell herself. Helen Morell should spell her name with the first two letters of her first name and the last two letters of her last. There is no other explanation for what her films are like. Helen Morell took every step to reinforce this public reputation in interviews set up with her agent. I find the girl next door to be boring and dead inside. A humble slab of meat that needs a gallon of paint and plaster to make appealing to anyone. I can only have pity for them. I don't even have enough contempt to hate them. Helen Morell gauged the reaction to the person who asked the question, and was satisfied it was the reaction the public would have as well. Outrage. How do you test one's own morals, but against amoral monsters? To test one's resolve against evil by facing evil, not shivering in the shadows of evil. No neighborhood girl would ever be capable of this. What does the girl next door do? She struggles to look pretty and settles for second best. Morell taunted controversy with everything she said in public. A slut has a better chance for absolution than some spinster with her bra on too tight. Morell's critics maintained that the actress wasn't acting at all. The antisocial sluts and temptresses she portrays are just faculties of Morell's own sadistic instincts. Tabloids produced the most acidic fiction of all the gossip surrounding Morell's private life. Tell-all tales of orgies and cocaine binges, sexual debauchery, deviancy, fraud, and larceny were a daily occurrence. She marveled at the imagination. So sad these pathetic scribblers don't write for the studios. They pen better fantasies than the scriptwriters do. Insight into Morell's past gave no clue to the woman. She was the daughter of a car mechanic and bank clerk. Morell went to art school and dazzled everyone with her charm. But I couldn't paint a smiley face or draw a stick figure, which meant, of course, that if I could only draw like a 3-year-old, then I was destined to be a famous artist. So I gave it up and put my pretty face to better use. It was Morell's radiance as the character, an honest portrayal of the most depraved human being, which brought people into the theaters. They watched as Morell started the film in the gutter and pushed her character to a transformation akin to a phoenix, in spite of ending the film in tragedy, a jealous lover's knife or bullet. Even as the plots of following films were choked with ridiculous forbidden passions, as much as the tabloids were with lies, Morell never lived up to her characters. Jane Birch was as morally bankrupt as modern art, and the main character and her lover exacted the logical outcome of their lives. The police chief shot and killed his illegitimate son. Jane Birch was sent to prison for killing the police chief. In true fashion of the melodrama, Jane Birch died as a prostitute after her release, the tragedy there and then complete. Jane's indestructible radiance sold Sarah, even in photographs of Morell at the film's premiere. Helen Morell walked the carpet as if on a tightrope, dressed in a translucent gown. As she left the theater, someone threw food at her in protest, something to get the newspapers boiling. Helen didn't flinch, showing the slimy residue as if it were a string of diamonds she was most proud of. On the film's financial success, Helen Morell got drunk and wrecked her car, a lie staged by her agent to make her like so many other fresh new actresses. She played the game, a picture-perfect starlet in every sense of the accepted way, trashing a rich boyfriend's toy one day and playing game show tease at the next premiere. In the movies, she played the roles with primal understatement and savage revenge against the image everyone preferred her to have. She could be ravenously sexual or as cold as a stone, a New World Order tragic lover. Matching her fame with her face, Morell's one true asset got her places the devil couldn't sway. "Baby, I'm famous enough to make a self-inflicted funeral into a party," Helen said on one red carpet interview, mocking herself while looking into the lights. The world shook under those words. Sarah read stories about how Morell had flown to Buenos Aires and danced all night, then went to England for a staged photo shoot, becoming an instant fashion obsession. Helen taunted and pouted, flowing with that bored sensuality along the staple of fashion. She was the best at it because she was mocking them. This was a lifestyle anyone would envy, but it was all stunts and publicity. Helen Morell played herself better than any other part in any movie. How she could pretend to be something so completely a lie. There had to be a betrayal somewhere in the mix. For this year, she was what all the young ladies wanted to be. Next year she will be their regret. To herself, she was just Helen Morel. Artists make great truths and writers write ideas, emotions, and great stories. Actors, well, they're really just highly paid liars. They don't create anything that wasn't already there. Like a mirror, only just a carnival kind of mirror that turns you into a freak. Myself, a famous and wealthy woman, the desire of most men, I dare say, I'm one of the best liars out there.